All right, this is the video of the dollar exercise for call center slash dispatch for our training team. So this goes in the video archives. Dave, definitely the master trainer of this, is going to demonstrate, and then we'll do any kind of debrief to explain what we're doing.
Cool. So what I want to talk to you today about is maximizing opportunity. And obviously we've done a lot of talking about a dispatcher's role within the call center is to make the most of the opportunities that the CSRs are giving, right?
Yep.
And it's really easy to look at the board and say, oh man, it's full. I've got enough to keep my guys busy all day.
Sure.
But that doesn't always necessarily mean that we're maximizing our opportunity. Okay? And one of the things that we talked about is making sure that we have that opportunity to keep coming to us, so our CSRs keep booking calls.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a little exercise with you. We're going to walk through this so that you can see the potential opportunity by maximizing your opportunity through taking more calls, okay?
Okay.
All right, so these dollar bills are going to represent calls, and there's only so many calls each tech can do each day, all right?
Okay.
So for this scenario, let's say that is 5. The maximum number of calls that the technician's going to be able to do in this scenario is 5 calls. And we're just going to do a one technician scenario, okay?
All right.
And so let's say that each of these dollar bills, $5 bills, represent a certain type of call.
Okay.
And in this case, these maybe aren't necessarily maintenance, but they're flexible, they're low dollar value calls. Okay? Now the $5, that's going to be maybe a demand call, a repair that needs to be made. Maybe the equipment's a little bit older, it's not 25 years old, but maybe it's 10 years old.
So low dollar and low priority, is that what I'm hearing?
Let's just focus for now on the opportunity of it.
Okay.
So let's just say low dollar.
Okay.
Okay, and that'll make it a little bit clearer as we go through
Okay.
here. So obviously right now you have 5 calls, so can you keep your technician busy all day?
Yep.
Okay. Do you feel like, given what you're holding though, that you maximized your opportunity?
Of what I have, yeah, because that's all I have.
Okay, good. So if another call were to come in, then would you feel like you could have the potential to maximize your opportunity even more?
Yep.
Okay. So in order to do that, what does your call center
Take
have
a
to
call.
do? Cool.
Take a call.
So I'm going to ask you, given what you've got, we've determined that you can keep your guys busy all day.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to ask you, do you want to take another call? You would say,
of course.
okay. So another call comes in, and it's a 5.
Sweet.
Right. So what are you going to do with this 5?
Take it.
Okay. What are you going to do? Where are you going to put it?
Okay, so I can only have 5 though, right?
You can only have 5.
Boom.
Cool.
Get rid of that.
So what are we going to do with this?
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it how?
Reschedule.
Okay. So depending on the time of day, would you want to reconsider that?
I don't know. So do I have other techs that I can work with, or I thought I only had this?
Nope, just this one.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to do with it.
Okay, cool. And that's where a lot of dispatchers will get into trouble, right? So they're going to take this call and they immediately reschedule it, all right? So let's just walk down that path.
Well, I definitely update if you're asking in the progression of a day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just updating them now.
Okay, cool. So
because
we're going
somebody here might be okay with, or might not show up.
Awesome, and that's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
So
that's not
a
the
lot
first
of
call.
Right, but a lot of dispatchers could take this call to say, "Oh, sweet, I maximized my opportunity," and then they get rid of
and
this
be
call,
happy
right?
okay.
And so imagine that out here in the world, these are all your competition, and as soon as you reschedule this call, well, then it's gone, right?
Yeah.
And now they've got it. And a lot of times what happens, we know as dispatchers, that the next thing that happens after we've already rescheduled this is that this person calls and cancels,
Right.
or even worse, this person calls and cancels because they got somebody sooner, right?
Right.
So now I started with 9, and now I'm even down worse off than I was because I've rescheduled and I've lost a call.
Yep.
So let's just say that we're going to put this over here.
Okay.
Make our update
My
calls
update
on it.
board.
Yep, that's your update board.
Okay.
We're going to continue to contact that customer. We might tell them that we're running a little bit behind.
Yep.
And what's awesome is that when we make those update calls, we're going to put it in the customer's plate, or we're going to put it on their side of the tennis court. They can make a decision if they want to proactively reschedule,
Right.
so that at 5 o'clock we don't have to make that call.
Right. Okay.
Cool. So at this point, you still have enough to keep your guys busy, but now you went from $9 to $13, so you've increased the amount of money that you have in
Is
your
there
hands.
more calls?
Is there more calls? Do you want more calls?
Yes, I want more calls. Let's go.
So now another call comes in,
All right.
and this is $1. All right, now you've told your CSRs keep taking calls, right?
Yep.
So, and here's the thing about telling CSRs to stop taking calls. As soon as you go out to the call center and you tell the CSRs stop taking calls, what is the first thing they think when they pick up the phone?
Right. Well, they're not going to keep. Yeah, they're going to have language. They're going to say everything that stops taking calls.
Right.
So I want to keep that behavior, move somebody else over here and just keep that behavior going.
Right.
Is what I'm
So we
feeling.
want to book this call because
Yep.
if you tell them stop booking calls, then they're going to stop booking 25-year-old systems. They're
Right,
going to stop
there's something
booking.
behind that.
Right.
Okay.
So it's important that we try and still keep taking calls, especially because you take this call, right? And then I am going to say this time, this call just canceled.
Oh yeah.
So now you're in the exact same situation as you were, but had you not taken that call, you wouldn't have any backups yet still.
I see it.
Right? So, and I like what you did there. You took the update call,
Mhm.
or you took the call that had been bumped
Right,
before, and you put it
right.
in back in its place, and then the new call went over there, right?
Yep.
Cool. So, we're still at $13, but we've kept the board full, even though we had to cancel, and we still have a backup, right?
Okay.
So, if I were to ask you, are the CSRs still taking calls?
Of course.
Awesome. Okay, so the next call comes in.
Yeah.
This is a piece of older equipment. It's got a few problems that are going wrong. They can't, the blower motor's making a loud noise, and their thermostat they don't like, right? So there's a little bit more opportunity. So obviously we're gonna take this call, right?
Yep.
Cool. Now you've got some calls that you're piling up here. So now let's say that the day is progressing, right? Let's say it's noon now,
Okay.
okay? What are we doing with these calls throughout the day?
Updating.
Right? So then let's say this person here says, you know what, I've got a lot going on this afternoon, can we just reschedule for another day? Cool. So we didn't lose this call.
Yep.
On their own accord, they decided to reschedule.
And they're more likely to stick with us because they did that.
Right.
Okay.
And we'll get to this call in a little bit too, but you're still in pretty good shape. You're calling this customer, you're updating them, you're letting them know, hey, it might be a little bit later than we had thought.
Yep.
Okay? So at this point, would we still want to take calls?
Of course.
Awesome. Okay, another call comes in.
Okay.
You're gonna take that call because we've told our CSRs keep booking, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you put that to the side. Obviously, we're keeping these on the board because they were already scheduled, right? They were scheduled first.
And we still might, because they're getting updates too.
Right.
Right.
Cool. So in that process, maybe one of these customers says, you know what, I don't really want to wait today. I'll reschedule over here.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now we're set up. Still have our calls. Still have our reschedule calls. Really, we have only one cancel, but we still have one backup.
Okay.
We're going to keep taking calls.
Yep.
Cool. So it's like 3 o'clock and the Holy Grail comes in, right? A 25-year-old furnace that's not working at all.
Okay.
It's the best possible situation you can imagine, right?
All right.
And the good news is your tech's like an 80% converter on these things. So he's going to nail this, okay? So we're going to take that call, right?
Sure.
We're going to bump that call over there. So now, the end of the day, what we're looking at is we have a 20, a 10, 2 5s, and a single, right? So that's $30, $41, right?
All right.
And do you remember what we started with?
No.
We started with $9.
Okay.
Okay? So we turned $9 into $41. That's what, like 400% increase in our revenue for the day?
Awesome.
So, and on top of it, we have these customers
One
over
for
here.
the future.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We had one cancel call, but that wasn't because we couldn't do it. They just called it canceled, right?
Okay.
And so even if this call calls and cancels, you still have backups over here, right?
Yes.
We're going to do everything we possibly can to get to those calls.
For sure.
So now the bad news is we have 2 calls that we have been updating throughout the day, so they know that we've been running behind.
Yeah.
And now we got to make a reschedule call to those.
All right.
Okay? And so one of the most important things to remember is that when we're making reschedule calls, that we're compensating our customers for the inconvenience.
Okay.
Because we booked that call under the assumption that we were going to be able to make it work.
Yeah.
And so if now we have to call those customers and cancel, it's going to be painful. I understand that as a CSR or the dispatcher, whoever's got to do it, it's going to be painful.
Yeah.
One of the most important things that we need to understand is that we can actually turn this into an opportunity to build an even more loyal customer depending on how we handle it.
Okay.
So when we call these customers, we're going to want to offer them something. Maybe that's a 10% coupon. Maybe it's waiving the diagnostic fee. Maybe it's a gift card of some sort that they could put towards service.
Okay.
Gift cards are great because customers who have money to spend don't always just spend that amount, right?
Right.
They'll spend that and then they'll upgrade to whatever the next is, spend a little bit more money to get something more that they want.
Okay.
So in this case, let's say you call these customers, you offer them 10% off the bill, whatever they decide to go ahead with.
Yep.
This person's really happy about it. This person reschedules, so now you have 3 calls here. This customer is kind of upset, and they decide, you know what, I don't want to have you out. Just let me, take me off the board.
Yeah.
So you got a couple of different options here. You could just say this is gone.
Mhm.
The other option you have is you can kind of keep it in a queue,
Mhm.
just in case something falls out here.
Mhm.
End of the day, you call this customer, you can't get a hold of them. Hey, just wanted to let you know I still will stand by what we were offering you before, and we have somebody available right now.
Cool. Okay.
So obviously you can see the impact, and the problem is like dispatchers, they look at the board in the morning and it's $9 and they're like, sweet, I have enough to keep my guy all busy all day long. Hey, CSRs, don't you dare take another call because I'm gonna be overwhelmed. And what we're doing is we're cutting off our nose to spite our face. We're cutting out 400% increase in revenue in this example, obviously. But even on a smaller scale, you could double your revenue just by following this method.
Easily.
The good news is, you, as the business, as the dispatcher, you keep that money.
Okay.
So in the initial situation, if I were to have given you that, you would have only taken home $9, and in this case, you're taking 41. And when it's your money, and you think of it in terms of your money, it makes a big difference to your decision making. Now, you did a great job. You were looking at it from the revenue perspective, from the business perspective.
Well, you talked about the calls, keep taking calls, and that's what triggered it for me, because there's more opportunity.
Cool.
So you're saying I can have this?
Yep. Literally. Let's go. Cool.
All right. Quick debrief. Anything specific that you want to share there?
Yeah. So, in the class, let's just kind of go back to what we had here, right? So, you had that. Yep, that one too. And then we had 3 over here, right? And then there was a reschedule. One thing that's important, if they ever say no, stop taking calls. One of the things you want to do, like let's say it was a 10.
Real quick.
If they say, yeah, so let's say you've got this. Okay. All right, do you want to keep taking calls?
No, this is too much. I've got all this going on, and no.
Okay.
We're good.
Cool. So we've gone now to the CSRs.
I mean, yeah, I've got this. So, and I had that. I didn't have that. We're good.
Yeah, you're in a way better situation than you were before, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so it's like 3 o'clock, and you're worried about getting to what you've got, and so hey, just stop taking calls. We're good for the day. We've maximized our opportunity.
For sure.
So what happens then is a call comes in, and we've told the CSR to stop taking calls, right? Yep. And we haven't told them to stop taking certain calls. We've just said stop. Okay. And so a call comes in, and now it's a 10. And what happens and what that sounds like is, before they even pick up the phone, they're looking for a reason to say no, right? And because CSRs automatically are trying to book or think that customers want to book for the same day. Yeah. So even if this call was saying, hey, I want something for tomorrow, the tone of voice is, we can't help you. Go find somebody else. Right. And here's what happens with this. This $10 then goes to somebody else over here. And it's gone, right? And now they're going to get it because they're booking calls. They're taking calls. So no matter what, this money is going somewhere. And that's something that's really important to remember. Yeah. This money is going somewhere. All right. And if we don't capture it, someone else is. So that's another reason why it's really important to keep taking calls. Now, you could get to a point in the day where you say, look, it's 5 o'clock. And the lowest thing I have on my board is maintenance. So anything better than a maintenance, keep booking. But if it's just a maintenance call, then let's try and book that call for another day. Yep. Okay? So you could tell your CSRs you have to have a lot of communication when you do that, because as soon as you say stop in one thing, they've got in their head stop completely, and then immediately they pick up the phone and they're thinking, I can't do it. Yeah. But the key point I wanted to make here is, this money's going somewhere, right? One way or another.
All right, and then what I'm feeling here, and let's play with this a little bit, even the discomfort of this sitting here, and even talking to that a little bit. So we'll talk, the potential of talking to the participants, say, how much is this on your mind? Like, let's just be real. This is here. How much is that on your mind? And allow them to express that a little bit, right?
Right.
And we're looking at maximizing. These are people behind these dollars, right? And the importance of updating. How important is it? If this is painful for you, how painful is it for them if we don't update?
Right.
Driving that home a little bit.
Okay.
I'm also wondering if we included a third person, the competitor, and literally let them take the money that this person turns away.
So in class, I do that, and it's a great visual because all of the participants that are there, that's all your competition.
Exactly.
Every single person in that room is one of your competitors.
Okay, so we're going to have another person who sits, and they're aware, right?
No, it actually works better if what you say, if they say no, what you say is, all right, so you're all the competition. Okay. Who wants this call?
And then whoever grabs it.
It's like,
all right. Yeah. Okay.
And I actually, at Super Meeting, I did that, or Owner Spotlight. And Tammy Tammy jumped up. I want it.
Yeah.
And it's a great visual because this is your competition over here, right? And there's a way more of them than there is of
That
you.
reinforces it's all going somewhere.
Mhm.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. All right,
Cool.
is that it?
That's it.
Very cool. There you have it. For questions, comments, concerns, see Dave. Just kidding. Any of us, we love you, we thank you, and stay awesome.
Cool.